Remembering can bring a life pivot. In anger management, sometimes we encourage people, certain people, to write a consequence card. We talked about this the other day in anger management. A woman who got arrested, lost her job, got arrested, lost her marriage because of her arrest, anger management. She threw some guy down some steps and all this other stuff. And so, the point of it is that her consequences were so severe from her explosion. We've all exploded, just varying degrees. That we encouraged her, and we have others, to write all her consequences, including financial, everything, on a card, laminate it, and keep it in your purse. And when you're about to consider blowing your cookies, pull that card out. And do you really want to go through all this finances? Do you really want to go through all this heartache? And for some people, it can knock them off the track. They're on a track of going right down a hill to blow up, but that consequence card can help them. So it can bring a life pivot point. 9/11. If you look at the back of my 97 Honda, there's 2 American flag stickers. Some people know that's my car. Because you remember after 9/11, almost everybody in America was carrying a flag around. But you don't see them anymore. You see 2 on my car. And like Condoleezza Rice said, and I agree with her, whether you agree with her politics or not, I don't really care. But Condoleezza Rice said, an Alabamian, that for every day of her life after that, because she was in the government in Washington, D.C. when that happened, every day of her life was September 12th. She got it. I think a lot of people, the whole thing faded. But it hasn't faded in my heart. And I'm not got my gun aimed at anybody in particular, but it hasn't faded in my heart. There's flags on my car, and as long as I live, there'll always be a flag on my car. Because the day after that, I was so proud of America that we demonstrated such patriotism with all those flags. But you can see how memories fade. I'm not laying a kill trip. Y'all don't have to go down to the bumper sticker store after church. But what I'm saying is, it's the nature of memories to fade, to lose the moment. But as we have communion, I'm emphasizing the very opposite of that. Instead of Jesus being a faded memory like 9/11 has done, bring it back full steam. Picture him at the cross. Picture him saying, I love you, John. I'm here because of you. Bring him alive again in communion. Memories can be a pivot point. I watched Dateline this week. I like that show. Don't y'all like that show where they solve a murder mystery? And there was a mother whose child had been missing for 21 years. And I know every woman in this church would probably be this way. For 21 years, she called that police department every week. She never gave up. And Dateline, 21 years later, they solved it. Whereas the police had so many things to do, and you got the idea, just like Natalie Holloway. Natalie Holloway's father, as far as I know, is in Aruba right now. That's exactly where I'd be. Some memories are life pivoting points of change. For example, a close call. Who in here has known somebody that's been in a car wreck, almost lost their life, and their whole life changes? That memory can cause someone or a heart attack, and their whole life changes. Because of that moment, that memory, I don't want my life to be like what it was before. I'm eating dinner with my daughters every week now after that heart attack. A life-changing memory can cause a life-changing decision. Remembering can also bind you or hold you to an event, a point in time, to become stuck. Now, when I was in the drug rehab world and ran a drug rehab clinic, this was well documented among drug users. A lot of times, drug users, somewhere between 10 and 20, let's say, 10 and 25, something won't go right in their life. Could be any number of things. And they'll start using drugs. Now, this is well documented in the drug world, and at whatever point that happens, like let's say 14, 15, that there's at least some odds that their emotions stop. And now that they're a 40-year-old, they still act like a 15-year-old because their emotions stop. Now, they can get therapy as an adult and get out of that cycle, but that's a pretty well documented fact that certain memories, certain traumas, certain tragic events can hold you, bind you, stick you, and get you stuck in a spot. Sort of in a flippant way, we've all met people who still live in the glory days of high school or college. They're stuck. But in a more serious way is what I'm saying as far as like the drug use. You hear people sometimes say, well, when I had that job I had 4 years ago, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. Don't stay stuck there. Don't stay stuck there. There's the future. Well, my last career, blah, 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 or when I was in shape 4 years ago, and you should have seen me. I was, well, okay, great. Well, go to the gym now. You get the idea. Through tragedy, abuse, or trauma, or just plain ego, or yesteryear being glorious, some of us, by remembering, can get stuck. Remembering can also save your life. I'm going to have to take you into the imaginary world of a C.S. Lewis book for a second called The Silver Chair. In The Silver Chair, it's basically, I'm going to give you a 1-minute rambling summary of the book. It's a prince who's enticed into a cave by a beautiful woman. The woman is actually a witch. Now, all the men in here may think, well, okay, that's a pretty normal woman. But nonetheless, so the woman entices the prince into a cave. The cave goes deeper and deeper and deeper until they're in an entire underground kingdom. And she's the witch that rules the kingdom. And the plot of the book is that for 23 hours a day, she's totally got his mind and heart under her control. And for 1 hour a day, he's in his right mind and in his right heart. He realizes he's a prince of the overworld, that she's a witch, and he needs to whack her head off. But she has convinced him that during that 1 hour that he's crazy, and in order to protect himself, she needs to fasten him and chain him to a silver chair. Pretty interesting thought process. So here's all this, this prince stuck under here, and for 1 hour he realizes who the witch is, but he's chained to the chair. And once the hour passes, he's back under her control. So the book is about 3 rescuers that wind their way down into this underground kingdom to get this prince free. And they finally get in the room where he is, and they're in there in the hour where he's chained to the chair. And he's saying all kinds of stuff. Well, who are you? Are you here to hurt me? Well, I'll do this to you and that to you. And then the hour ends, and he's back to kind of this docile, subjective state to the enemy, which I'm sure all of us can relate to a little bit. And the witch comes in. So now there's the witch in the room, the prince who's now under her spell, he's unchained, and the 3 rescuers. And the witch, instead of killing them all or bringing in hordes of people to kill them all, she begins to talk to them very softly, very easy. Now, exactly why you're here? Now, tell me your names again. Okay, well, it's nice to meet you. And she's not going to challenge them. She's talking very seductively and kind of quietly to him. And then she just kind of slips a little handful of potion and throws it in the fire. And now the room's got this aroma in it. And now the 3 rescuers, little by little, are beginning to repeat everything she says. So now they're beginning to be under her spell like the prince. So it's looking pretty bad for the home team at this point.